No. I hope so.
Good morning. I'm Berks County Commissioner Christian Leinbach, and I want to welcome you to the Board of Commissioners meeting for February the 5th. We are broadcasting live on Microsoft Teams Town Hall, also on BCTV, as well as in person. I'd like to call the meeting to order with a moment of silence followed by a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'll recognize my executive assistant, Veronica Lepore, to read the public comment notice.
Good morning. Thank you. Public comment will be accepted in person and through the Q&A function. Please include your first name, last name, and municipality for all comments. Any comments without name and municipality will not be considered. Each citizen can submit one comment. Comment length is dictated by limitations of the platform being used, Teams Q&A. In-person comments will be accepted first, followed by comments submitted virtually. The meeting comment period is limited to a total of 30 minutes, including both in-person and virtual comments. This time period may be extended at the discretion of the board. Please be concise. Comments that are germane to county business will be read during the meeting and should not be considered to be interactive dialogue with the commissioners. The county solicitor shall be the final arbiter of whether a comment is germane and should be read. Any commissioner response to public comment will be done at the discretion of the commissioners.
Thank you very much, Veronica. Are there any additions or corrections to the January 22nd meeting minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. I do want to note that we had an executive session on, actually it would be yesterday. What's that? I have 128. Is that correct? And then yesterday. So January 28th, real estate, litigation, personnel, and security. Yesterday, February the 4th, personnel, litigation, and real estate. Is there any public comment on specific agenda items? None on in person and none online. So we will move into our agenda. Number one, authorizing under that budget, adopt a resolution authorizing budget transfers in the amount of $133,360 and 2025 appropriations in the amount of $0. 2026 transfers in the amount of $44,011 and 2026 appropriations in the amount of $606,736 per listing dated January the 30th of 2026. Under purchasing, we have one item, adopt a resolution authorizing a recommendation to award and further authorize the Director of Contracts and Procurement to execute a one-year contract resulting from an invitation to bid for the rental of vehicles to transport election machines that goes to Penrack LLC, doing business as Enterprise Rent-A-Car out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The estimated annual expenditure is $26,146.52. There's one item listed under Human Resources, authorize the appointment of Travis Foose to Fiscal Manager, Facilities and Operations. One item listed under Commissioner Santoni, adopt a resolution authorizing the appointment of Robert Saunders, Wyomissing, Pennsylvania, to the Berks County Area Agency on Aging Advisory Council to fulfill an unexpired term ending on December 31st of 2027. There's several items listed under the Commissioners. Item A, adopt a resolution authorizing execution of the administrative entity operating agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services Office of Developmental Programs administrative entity effective January 1 of 26 for purposes of Berks County Mental Health and Developmental Disabilities Program to conduct administrative functions of the Consolidated Person, Family, Directed Support, and Community Living waivers for the prospective waiver participants, Target Support Management, which is the approved state plan, and waiver participants, and for the purpose of the administrative entity conducting the initial level of care evaluation of prospective waiver participants for the Consolidated Community Living and Adult Autism waivers. Item B, adopt a resolution authorizing the Director of Facilities and Operations, or in his or her absence, the Deputy Director of Facilities and Operations, to execute properly documented change orders for the contracts executed in accordance with county procurement procedure, provided that the total amount of such a change order shall not exceed the lesser of 5% of the total project cost, or $250,000, and further provided that this authorization shall be limited to the following capital projects: renovations to the Agricultural Center, renovations to the former Community Reentry Center for Youth Detention, renovations to the Courthouse and Services Center for the Space Reallocation Study, courthouse doors, and steam plant decentralization. Item C, adopt a resolution authorizing exoneration of 2025 county property taxes and penalties in the amount of $3,505.83 for a parcel located at 321 Island Street in the borough of Hamburg, owned by Goat House Church, Inc. The taxpayer was granted partial exempt status for the property purchased in 2024, effective January 2026. Item D, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute the adoption agreement for the Valak Corbridge section of the 457B deferred comp plan, amending the plan to add section terms permitting an in-service employee participating in the county's 457B plan to transfer amounts deferred to another 457B plan maintained by the county. This resolution is hereby adopted to supersede Resolution 418-2025, which was adopted on December 18th of 2025. Item E, adopt a resolution authorizing Kevin S. Barnhart, Chief Operations Officer, or in his absence, Larry Medallion, Deputy Chief Operations Officer, to execute the 2026-2027 Pelican Renewal Application for Berksheim Nursing and Rehabilitation. Item F, adopt a resolution authorizing approval of the revised HIPAA notice of privacy practices in Section 11.5 of the Human Resources Policy and Procedural Manual, effective February the 16th of 2026, subject to final review and approval by the Solicitor's Office. Item 2, a motion to authorize the execution of contract agreements and amendments as set forth on the contract agenda listing dated February the 2nd of 2026. There are a total of 14 contracts. There's one with the Chief Operations Office, one with Children and Youth Services, one jointly with Children and Youth Services and Juvenile Probation. Actually, that's two with Children and Youth Services and Juvenile Probation, one with the County of Berks, 2 with facilities and operations, 1 with human resources, 1 with the Berks County Jail, 1 with the Berks County Library System, 3 with mental health and developmental disabilities, and 1 with the Solicitor's Office. Item 3, a motion to authorize the execution of payments and electronic transfers for the week ending February 6th of 2026. Item 4, a motion to authorize the execution of employee payroll disbursements dated February the 10th of 2026. And item 5, a motion to ratify and confirm the execution of the fourth quarter of 2025 local earned income tax and local services tax dated January 29th of 2026.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. With that, we'll move to reports of our treasurer and controller. We'll begin with our Berks County Treasurer, Mitchell Darcourt. Mitch.
Thank you, Commissioner. Today, we have an opening balance of $204,908,078.56. We have a balance to clear of $5,836,786.60, leaving us with a balance of $199,071,291.96. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Mitch. And moving now to our Berks County Controller, Joe Ruttero, with the Controller's Report. Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just doing a little housekeeping for the week ending January 30th, 2026. We had a total accounts payable of $6,612,397.86. We had a total employee payroll of $5,920,890.41 for a total cash disbursement of $12,533,288.27. For the week ending February 6th, 2026, we have an accounts payable and total cash disbursement of $5,335,850.25. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move now to our Chief Operations Officers.
Commissioner Linebaugh, we have nothing to offer at the present time. Thank you.
Okay, that quickly, we are to Commissioners' comments, and we'll begin with Commissioner Michael Rivera.
Thank you, Commissioner Linebaugh. A few items I want to touch on. This past Friday, all three of us were at the State of the City at the Redner's Event Center. Great opportunity to learn there about what the city accomplished in 2025. So I want to thank the mayor for his invitation and for the people that attended that. Had a great turnout and learned a lot about what was accomplished in the city in 2025. And we continue as a county to look forward to working with the city in 2026. Also, this coming Wednesday, we have a town hall at the Bethel Topahakan Public Library. Starts at 6:30, runs till 8, and the doors open at 6 p.m. One thing I do want to touch on as well is the ICE property purchase. I've been receiving numerous calls and emails about that purchase there and what is happening and what is not happening. Some of the calls have been blaming us for the purchase and asking us not to allow it to open, while others have been asking us to support it. And as a county resident, you have every right to contact us to share your concerns. And I want to hear what is important to you. I want to hear the concerns of our constituents on both sides of the matter, and not just this situation, but any matter that affects Berks County. Also seen some local elected officials and people that have posted on Facebook asking people to reach out to the commissioners. I did reach out to one asking why he is asking people to reach out to the commissioners, but I have not received a response as of yet, just wondering what the purpose of having someone to reach out to the commissioners is. So I just want to touch on a few things here, and I don't want to get into whether it's right or wrong or good or bad or whether I support or not support. I just want to state some facts to clarify what is and what is not the county's role in this process. But I do want to start by saying that Berks County and I value human dignity, due process, and the safety of our residents. Our jail has evidence-based programs that help the incarcerated prepare to be productive community members when they are released. We partner with organizations such as Connections Work to help individuals who are justice involved to get the help they need, find jobs, and gain skills. Our probation and parole office works to reintegrate people back into the community and is out in the community letting themselves be known. Our district attorney and judges believe in alternative sentencing, specialized courts to help restore people rather than to always send them to jail unless they are violent offenders, and also in restorative justice. And these are just to name a few of examples as to what we do here in Berks County. So I found out about the purchase on Monday, a few hours before it showed up in the papers. Just to be clear, I was not contacted by ICE. I was not notified. I was not consulted whether they should move forward with this or not. Something else that is important to understand is that we cannot stop the sale of a private property. Well, we didn't know about it until after it was done, but still we cannot stop a sale. That is a private transaction of land and property ownership. Another point that was touched upon in the emails was zoning permits, asking us not to give the zoning permits or any applicable permits for ICE to start their detention center there. The county does not have the authority to do that. In Pennsylvania, that authority lies on municipalities. I also have heard, although I have not confirmed this, but I have heard that the federal government does not need to abide by local zoning ordinances. And I want to clarify that it's not something I have looked into, just something that I have heard. Some people have said that the county has stopped it in other places. I don't know what other places are being referred to. If it was in another state, we need to understand that in Pennsylvania, local zoning permits and so forth are handled all at the municipal level, while in most other states, it is handled at the county level. That's why the county would play a much larger role in the zoning and permits and what can be done and not be done in areas throughout the county. Another area I want to touch upon that people have asked about is the loss of property taxes. This going from a business, a private business, to a government entity. This property has an assessed value of $22,148,000. That equals $199,619.92 in county revenue. It equals $31,228.68 in Upper Bern Township revenue, and it equals $597,110.08 in school revenue. So that is what I know up to now. I do want to encourage everyone, ICE is a federal agency. Please contact if you have any concerns in one way or the other. Again, I'm not saying, what people should do or why they should contact, but if you are in pro or in favor, you should really contact your congressperson. Since ICE is a federal agency, they are the ones who have the say over what happens at the federal level. We are looking into some other things. At this point, I do not have any other details. And my last item is there is no election board meeting today at 11. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivera. Commissioner Santoni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of quick things. And as Commissioner Rivera said, we attended a couple of events. The one at the Redner Center with regards to the city, Eddie Moran's State of the City was something that we all attended. At the town hall. I also want to recognize February is Black History Month and recognize all the contributions of the African American community here in Berks County and throughout our Commonwealth, and of course throughout our nation. Yes, I do have some comments that I'm going to be making with regards to the ICE facility, but I know that there's a lot of people that want to speak. I'm going to listen to them first, and then I'm going to reserve the right to make my comments after that is concluded. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Santoni. Let me pull up my comments here. Couple of things, and I'm going to reserve my comments on the warehouse. Some of the information's been shared But I have some additional things that conversations that I've had and so forth, and concerns that I have. Want to note that this morning I had the opportunity to be over at our Heritage Center, and I am going to try to share my screen. I showed up at the Heritage Center at 5:30 a.m. To do a, give me a second here. I'm a guy, I can only do one thing at a time. So right now, trying to bring up my images. So WFMZ, who's here today, was there this morning, and they wanted to do a program on the snowshoe program that we have at our park system. So we did interviews. These are free. They are lent out. You can go to our Berks PA.gov website and go to the park section, find more information on this. We talked to WFMZ. Lisa and Kathy Grimm from our staff were also there. And then we put the snowshoes on and we went out along the Topahakan. And I got to tell you, I happen to love to hike. This was looking under the Red Bridge this morning. It was incredible. It was 5 degrees when I got there, but again, if you dress warmly, you're fine. I never used snowshoes before. I've skied, done a lot of other activities. It wasn't hard at all. The big thing you remember is keep your tips up and walk through the snow.
Do you have a video of it?
I don't have a video of it because I was doing it. If you go on to WFMZ, I don't know if any of those clips will be up there, but I know it ran this morning. We did several different segments, but I want to give a call out to our parks staff. Many people don't realize that even during the winter, we have active programming. Sunday evening, they did a moonlight hike at night. It was pretty cold then, but really absolutely beautiful. So take advantage of our parks. More specifically, this is a unique opportunity. This was a grant-funded program by the Gilmore Henney Foundation, a local foundation. It was funded back in 2023 and largely unable to be used since then. Because you really need about 6-7 inches of snow to really be able to do use the snow. What am I saying here? Snowshoes. And the deeper the snow, the more effective they are. So I want to thank our parks team for all of that, and then reiterate we do have the town hall next week on the 11th at the Bethel Topahakan Library from 6:30 to 8 a.m. And again, I will have comments about the warehouse after we hear from public comments. At this time, what's that?
I'm going to mention that what we're doing next Thursday. Already forgot about it.
Oh, yeah, I did forget that. We all did. A lot going on. Next Thursday's commissioners meeting, all three commissioners will be talking about priorities for 2026 and in some cases longer term priorities. We tried to do this at the beginning of each year. That will take place next week. I don't know about my colleagues. I have a actually much longer normal presentation that I will post up on the county website. But we're focusing on just really giving an overview of the issues that are important to us and issues that we believe are important to the county. So thank you, Commissioner Rivera, for reminding me of that item. Any comments from our row officers before we go to public comment?
I do not have anything to add at this time.
I don't either. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Again, I want to reiterate what was read at the beginning is nothing new. Anyone that's been at our meetings, those are the rules outlining the process. I don't we'll look online. There's one online. We'll take the in-person first. When you come up to the mic, you have 3 minutes to speak. Our clerk will be timing. I'm not going to cut you off hard, but finish your sentence or statement when you hear the alarm go off. 3 of you did not put your municipality. Just share your municipality, where you're from. People ask, why do we do that? It's 2 reasons. 1, we want to know who's talking. 2, when you have a really large group under Commonwealth law, and I don't know if we've run into this since we've had this board, we are only required to take comments from county residents. In my time here, we've also taken comments from those outside the county as well. But that's one of the other reasons that you ask for the municipality. All the ones that are listed here are county residents. And unless we're seeing ourselves go beyond the 30 minutes, I don't see any reason to limit someone if they happen to be from outside of the county. So with that said, we'll start our public comment period with Eric Dixon from Reading. Again, step up to the microphone, give us your name, municipality, and then your comment.
Again, thanks. Eric Dixon, City of Reading. I'm here to speak about the purchase of the warehouse in Upper Burn Township by ICE. I would respectfully request you use all your hard powers in addition to your soft powers to stop this facility from being implemented. I do recognize the comments from Commissioner Rivera that there are some differences here based on it being a federal purchase. But again, I don't think that this ICE detention center is something we need or want in Berks County. There are 2 ways, in my opinion, you can look at this, 2 frameworks, so to speak. First being the financial aspect, which all the numbers that I've seen exactly match, which Commissioner Rivera went through earlier, so I won't regurgitate them. But it's over $620,000 loss in total tax revenue. The second framework, which is more deep to me, is the humanitarian aspect of an ICE detention center in Berks County, let alone Pennsylvania. ICE has shown that they are more likely to draw a gun on you and shoot you than give you due process. And going back to Commissioner Rivera's comments on how prisoners are treated in Berks County, I do appreciate that and I respect that, how Berks County handles things, but this would not be a Berks County facility. This would be a federal facility. And we've seen what's happened in the past year and a half in ICE facilities. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person is, and just if I say the name wrong, I'm sorry. Nancy, is it Omaha Bay? I'm not sure. Lower Alsace.
Nancy Omaha Boy from Lower Alsace, representing the clerical side of things. You're the leadership of Berks. We're very appreciative of your efforts to bring progress to our county. Many of us are very troubled by this detention center proposal. It doesn't exist right now, and we are hoping that many of us will be able to work together to not make it exist. 2/3 of the country is very upset right now by ICE tactics. We have no idea who is going to be put into this proposed center, if it's ever going to be that. Many of the people that are being snatched off the streets are being illegally detained. The detention center in Western Pennsylvania has worse conditions than jails. These are not criminals. These are not people who have committed crimes. If they were, they would be in the penal system. These are our neighbors. And to see them being given low rations of food, unclean water, no health care, communal living it's abusive and it's cruel. What we would like from our leadership, from you, is every effort you can make to see that the laws are being applied, that the people being detained are legally, they've been served warrants and arrested legally, that you know who is going to be detained in Berks County. You have a list of names that you can provide to people because they are going to be detained here, supposedly. I'll put that in again because I hope that we can keep this from happening. I think there are a lot of things where we, the citizens, feel that our personal value systems in a democracy and with our religious values, that a lot of these actions are in direct opposition. And for that reason, we're here to appeal to you in whatever way you can to slow this down, stop it, change it, whatever is most appropriate.
Okay,
But that's why we're here. So thank you very much.
thank you. The next person is Eric Pedersen, Reading.
Thank you. I would just like to add my voice to those expressing concern about the conditions and.
And again, just restate your name.
Oh, sure.
I said it, but it's that we ask you to just restate your name.
Eric
Don't take
Peterson.
that off of his time, please.
Eric Peterson from the city of
It
Reading.
is Peterson. Okay, sorry
All
about
right.
that.
Common mistake. Lifelong resident of Berks County. And I would like to add my voice to those expressing concern about the conditions inside ICE facilities. The neglect and abuse are not something that I would like to see happen here or anywhere. As Americans, we should stand for freedom and not tyranny. To those of you who I know identify as Christians or people of faith, your scriptures say, treat others the way you want to be treated. And just on the most basic human level, we should always stand with compassion and against cruelty.
Thank you. Next on the list is Lisa Gallagher, Spring Township.
Lisa Gallagher, Spring Township. Good morning.
morning.
I am going to speak on our federal government spending our tax dollars on an $87.4 million warehouse near Hamburg in Berks County, PA. I do realize that the county has no control over the federal government purchasing this. But the idea of a warehouse, I've been in one before. I volunteer at a local food bank in a warehouse. A warehouse is a place to store items, not human beings. Our Congress members who are trying to cannot seem to get DHS to comply to follow the law either. With this being a warehouse for people, it will bring a large DHS presence, ICE, Border Patrol, ERO presence. If you watch any video on their operations, you will see violent and unconstitutional behavior over and over and over again. People think it can't happen here. People are going about their lives thinking, oh, that's someplace else. It just happened in Phoenixville this past week. I'm hoping that the county is prepared for the chaos. Our community is concerned. We're looking to our local officials like you to meet this moment and take action. Public safety is not a given. People have found themselves in danger just by turning down the wrong road and running into an ICE raid and being taken away. ICE is creating the chaos. We need to be prepared for it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just, so I'm gonna, it's you, Celine Archier.
Schreier.
Schreier.
Celine Schreier. from
I'm
Reading,
sorry.
Pennsylvania. That's okay.
Reading.
My handwriting's not great.
That's okay. Mine's much worse.
Hello, good morning, commissioners. It's been a long time since we've spoken about issues pertaining to ICE in particular. And I want to say thank you to Commissioner Rivera for very clearly expressing and clarifying what the board knew, when it knew, and how all of us feel very blindsided by this purchase. I want to speak to the reality that these two facilities, one here being purchased in Berks and the warehouse purchased in Tremont, would be added to an already massive number of facilities in Pennsylvania and Northeast America. In Moshannon alone, they are housing up to 1,800 people, and this would expand capacity to house even more people in Eastern Pennsylvania. The conditions in these facilities are inhumane, are harmful, are dangerous, and deadly. Numerous people have already died in the last month alone. 3 more people have died. We have seen people die in Moshannon in the last year. We already know as well that they are utilizing solitary confinement in ways that are frankly defined as torture across the rest of the world in Moshannon. And I have no reason to believe that we would not see similar things occurring in these warehouses that ICE hopes to build here in Berks County and in Tremont as well. I know that you do not have much power in relation to this facility and what is happening, but it is important to use any power that you have, any leverage that you have to move alongside your constituents and those of us that recognize this is a inhumane and dangerous situation that is unfolding once again in Berks County. We have the power to stop this, and we have the power to say that we do uphold the belief in all people's humanity and dignity, as you so clearly expressed, Commissioner Rivera. Thank you for your time, and I hope that you will use your powers in any way that you possibly can to help us ensure that this does not get built.
Thank you. Tessa Hutter, and if you can tell us where you're from.
Hi, I'm Tessa Hutter. I'm actually from Lebanon County.
From where?
Lebanon County.
Okay.
I appreciate the opportunity to have my voice heard today, even though I don't reside here. I just want to add my voice as a concerned citizen that is concerned about the violations of human rights reports that we're getting out of these detention centers and other places, and the lack of transparency that's being allowed in these other detention centers throughout the country. And I also wanted to voice my concern for our democracy if we're allowing federal agents, masked federal agents, to not have to abide by the laws that the other federal agencies are accountable for. So I appreciate your time, and I appreciate that Commissioner Rivera is saying that this might not be the correct level of government to be appealing to, but I plan to appeal to every level of government I can in every county I can. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go with Taryn Hartwell. Again, no municipality. If you can share your municipality, please.
Hello, thank you for the chance to talk. I'm Taryn Hartwell from Morgantown. That's Carnarvon Township, I believe. I wanted to add my voice to the sea of voices that are now appealing to all forms of government to stand against movements that we don't feel we have control over. We're going to appeal to commissioners, to senators, to whoever, if we feel like our Pennsylvania constitutional rights are infringed. We appreciate any show of support you give us. Thank you.
Thank you. Jerepsy Cabello. Sorry about that.
My name is Jerepsy Cabello Melgar. I'm from Tilden Township. The warehouse that was purchased by ICE is just a 12-minute drive from where my family and I live. It's practically in my backyard. And I've lived in Berks County my entire life. I was born in Reading, raised in Reading, and now my family and I live in Tilden. My family's been fortunate enough never to experience any kind of racial profiling or overt racism in our area, but just 3 days ago, that changed. On Sunday, my father was buying groceries at our local Walmart like he's done a million times before, but this time he was followed around town by officers in an unmarked vehicle. They were wearing brown uniforms as opposed to the standard Tilden Township and Hamburg Police Department's black uniforms. And so he believes that they were ICE officers. They followed him until he was about a block away from where we live. My father was able to make it home safely, but as we've all seen, that makes him one of the lucky ones in this country. With the conversion of that warehouse into a new detention center, I'm worried about what the increased ICE presence in our region will mean for my family. I'm afraid that one day my dad will go out for groceries and he won't come back. That my mother will go out to work and she won't come back. It is terrifying to be Latino in this country. And once upon a time, my parents' legal status was comforting. I thought that they were safe from ever being taken away from us. But now, as a citizen of this country, I don't even feel safe. At any point, they could decide that any one of us isn't worth the dirt under their boot and shoot us dead on the street, and the government would defend them. Blood has already been shed in Minneapolis, so I want to leave you all with this. What will you, as commissioners of this county, and what will our state and local governments do to prevent blood from being shed in Berks? You need to be working with state and local governments and everyone that you can. Use any power that you have to prevent these armed thugs from attacking our people, our families, our neighbors, our friends on the street. Thank you very much.
The next person on the list, Charles Wilson. And again, your municipality isn't here, but you can share that with us.
Charles Wilson, Exeter Township. The emotional statement is very warranted, in my view. Yesterday, I heard a news report of a study presented by the Cato Institute. That's a very conservative, maybe I shouldn't say very, it's known as a conservative study group evaluation think tank. Their report was this, simply directed to the immigrant situation in this country. And let me preface that by saying, I believe there's a simple, much more simple solution to this whole thing than the trauma so many people are being put through. We have a constitution in this country, and if you haven't realized it's not being followed by our federal government very well in many aspects, then you need to listen up a lot more closely. What was reported by the Cato Institute is that of the immigrants who are working in this country, this is data this Cato Institute gathered. I don't know how, the study is obviously available, but they measured or gathered information from 1992 through 2023. Immigrants' income tax and other tax payments totaled $17 trillion. The cost viewed by government incurred in relation or respect of that part of the population was $4 trillion. Therefore, that's a net positive inflow to the federal government of $13 trillion. By comparison, our national debt during that same period, 1992 to 2023, has grown by $20 trillion. So had that net contribution of tax revenue from the immigrant population in this country not been available to the federal government, Our growth in national debt from 1992 to 2023, instead of being approximately $20 trillion, would have therefore been $33 trillion. I'm sure many of you that are concerned about our national debt might be wondering about the importance, therefore, of the tax revenue that we could be losing in this country if we just mass deport people that are here working, earning a living, paying taxes. The easy solution, it seems to me, is for our federal government to simply develop a program through right to citizenship for these people, which has been discussed about, but the politicians that we're electing have never been able to come to agreement about it. We could elect people that will come to an agreement, and I would urge us all to focus on that. But other than that, what's facing the commissioners now is to at least make certain that this facility and the federal government and ICE, or whomever in the federal government is responsible for this, is in compliance with every aspect of every law and requirement and standard that we have in place to impose. Thank you very much.
Okay, that completes the in-person. We have two online, and I'm going to take them in order as their comments were posted. The first one is D. Rodriguez, Reading. I'm concerned about the purchase of the warehouse in our county for use as a detention center. I know that many elected officials were unaware of the purchase and that residents of the community are opposed to the detention center as they will no longer collect tax revenue. Thank you. There is a second comment online. Hi, I'm Margaret Pendleton, a resident of Berks County, Maiden Creek Township. I understand you're saying this facility is funded through state or federal funding and that we should contact our state representatives about it. I appreciate the clarification, but I'm still concerned about the long-term impacts on our community. Transparency in the decision-making and how local residents will be informed and have input before anything moves forward. Will the board commit to a public hearing or an independent cost and impact study so residents can understand what this means for our county? There's a third one. Let me just refresh. Hello, my name is Alex Crawford. I live in Berks County in Reading. With the new center being purchased by ICE, I'm deeply concerned about the safety of my loved ones and neighbors. What is the plan for how we will deal with the center and its impacts on us as a community? After witnessing what happened locally with the Berks Detention Center, I know people will be mistreated and hurt, families separated, children in dangerous situations they should never have to face. I fear how this will impact our community greatly. Let me refresh one more time before we close out. Yeah, that would be the last one. So we will close out the public comment period. Comment. Go ahead. And all of us can make any comments that we want, but two of us had noted we wanted to wait to hear, not that it changed, don't misunderstand. I don't think it might have changed, but I think both of us have prepared thoughts, but I wanted to be able to hear what you have. What has changed, there's a couple items that I made note of that came up that I felt are important to address. So I will attempt to do that right now. First of all, I want to note, in reality, we talk about what level of government you should go to. My philosophy over the years is there's no wrong level of government. Anyone who is an elected office, you can talk to them, you should be able to talk to them. And if they are not the exact entity, they should be able to direct you to those people that are. That's one of the things that in my office, I decided many, many years ago, not to say to people, it's not us, it's not our responsibility. Even to say to them, contact your senator. We try to give them the name of the person, if we know who it is that with the details that we have. So I don't have any problem with people reaching out to me as a county commissioner, coming to a commissioner's meeting. And I also recognize this is a unique forum, just like our town halls are. It's a forum for the public to be heard. These meetings since COVID, prior to COVID, they were only in person, but since COVID, these meetings have been hybrid. So as you note, there's people online. There's some of our own staff I know that watch, but I think the last I looked, there's 38 people that have logged in that are watching, including the individuals that responded. So that's the first thing that I would note. Secondly, I live in Tilden Township. I'm, I think, a little bit closer. I'm up near Indian Fort Inn, if you know where that is. This is probably about 3 miles from my house. So I get that as well. Let me share that I first heard about the potential on the 29th of January. An individual in the area of Charlottesville reached out to me. I'm not going to share her name, via email, and said, I have heard rumors that ICE is going to buy a warehouse. Instead of answering her immediately with my answer, I hadn't heard anything about that. I immediately reached out to our district attorney, John Adams, Sheriff Mandy Miller, Warden Jeff Smith, and to a head of our Department of Emergency Services, Brian Gottschall. Brian Gottschall, because he's very connected through 911, law enforcement, and so forth. The other three, because they work with ICE. They work with ICE within the criminal justice system. All of them got back to me immediately and said, we've not heard a thing about this. And so I responded immediately to the individual, said, well, I haven't heard anything. And each of these individuals I contacted haven't heard anything. That all changed at 11:03 this past Monday morning when our recorder of deeds, Fred Sheeler, notified us that he had just filed a deed for this property, $87 million plus. The deed was filed by Homeland Security / Immigration Customs Enforcement Agency. At 11:21, I contacted the woman that had contacted me the week before and let her know, hey, things have changed. This is what I just found out. I don't know anything else. What I found out very quickly on Monday afternoon, with calls coming unsolicited, I didn't even have a chance. 2 different calls from Congressman Muser's office, another call personally from Representative Jamie Barton, who both happen to represent me and Northern Berks County. And they were saying to me, we don't know anything about this. Both of them had already reached out on the Tremont facility in Schuylkill County to Homeland Security and not heard anything back regarding that. So there was absolutely no warning to anyone that I know of in government here at the local level, the municipal level, or the state or federal level that I've had contact with so far. There are some issues. ICE is one issue. And I'm going to say this because it's what I believe. I've been here, I'm in my 19th year. The Berks County Residential Facility was an asylum facility. It was not for criminal illegal aliens. It was for families that were seeking asylum. And they were held there while they waited for their hearing. I remember the accusations towards that facility, and they were alluded to, and it was a bunch of BS. I was out at that facility many times. The Reading Conference of Churches provided a chaplaincy program. An individual I know, who I will not name because I don't have permission to name her, but very involved in the criminal justice reform movement, a person I respect, taught music lessons there. The Berks County Intermediate Unit had classrooms and taught students there. That's my experience. Additionally, the county, through the courts, through the district attorney, through the sheriff, and through the warden, have worked with ICE and have not had issues. You haven't seen, relative to the ICE involvement for years with our courts, with our jails, any news stories. I'm not saying that means everything else isn't true. That's not my point. I'm giving you my experience here in Berks County. And as a result, I have had a different experience with that. That said, here are my issues. One, the total lack of transparency with this process. I've had people say, block the sale. I said, hey, folks, you go to settlement. The last thing that happens after settlement's done, everything's signed, is the deeds filed. That deal is done. There is no sale to block. That's one. Number two, Pennsylvania is fairly dramatic in its difference of county government versus most of the rest of the country. In most of the rest of the country, and I know this, I sit on the National Association of Counties Board of Directors, and I've sat in that position since 2012. I interact with commissioners all across the country. Other counties control permits, zoning, subdivision, codes, all of those issues. In Pennsylvania, counties are a separate entity from cities and municipalities. People think, and I used to, oh, county's bigger, so they must be in charge of the city of Reading, or they must be in charge of Upper Bern Township in this particular case. We are not. Municipalities are under the municipal code. Counties are operate under the county code. And the only exception where counties can do permitting, zoning, are where they have a municipality that's unincorporated. That tends to be in some rural parts of the state. We don't have any of that. So we never are involved in issuing permits, setting up zoning, subdivision, or anything like that. I believe that may be one of the reasons that some of the information that's out there is counties should be able to do a lot to stop this. Upper Bern is a small municipal township. They do a good job. Charlottesville is a town, but it's not, it's part of Upper Bern. It's going to be really tough for them to fight back. Let's just be very blunt, lay the cards on the table. A county would be different. And here's why, and this goes into my additional problems. When a permit is approved for a building project, it's approved based on several things: site development, use, what is the use of that facility? For instance, that warehouse wasn't going to be built in a residential zone. You can't do that. It had to have certain zoning. So all of that process, to the best of my knowledge, because I was not involved in the day-to-day operations of Upper Bern, but as things normally work, they anticipated they were approving a warehouse. They were approving a warehouse that would have a handful of people working in that warehouse, probably largely automated, tractor trailers delivering product, tractor trailers taking product out to distribution. That's what they anticipated. Right now, and let me be very cautious, we have no confirmation outside of news reports that this would be a detention center. I have to be more careful than the general public in what I say about something. So I am not going to reference this yet as a detention center. I will say that everything seems to point in that direction. And if that is the case, I have questions. That's not what was approved. How many, do they have enough EDUs? Do they have enough sewer capacity for a facility that holds a lot of people? That's something that would have been determined upfront in the municipal process before a project was approved. Is there enough water? I don't think power is going to be an issue. But more importantly, as the school district looked at this, and I will reiterate this number because somebody referred to the number, and I think they referred to an early number that was in the news that was incorrect. The bigger issue is the support, if you will, for this warehouse from a municipal, county, and school district standpoint was based on two things. One, it would take very little in services. In fact, school district, nothing. Municipal, very limited. County, very limited. And provide major revenue to each of those entities. You read those. I appreciate them. I'm going to reread them again. The county, and these numbers, I got them from two places. Our economic development team, Pam Mennett and Derek Harris, and Sue Kissling, our assessment office. And they both looked at the numbers. They both agreed that this is exactly what was anticipated based on the assessed value. Remember, the building's done. It's built. We're not talking about a building that will be built. It's built. It's ready, it's ready to be occupied as a warehouse. The county was to receive $199,619.92. Upper Burn, and this is a lot of money to Upper Burn. Please keep in mind, a rural township, $31,228.68. And the Hamburg School District, again, I've had some people say, no, that's not Hamburg, it's Tulpehocken. It gets confusing when you're in rural. It's right on the border. Upper Burn is part of the Hamburg School District. So that money would be $597,110.08. The total tax annually to the county, the school district, and the municipality was to be $827,958.68. Now, there's something at the federal government called PILT, and this is an acronym, PILT. It stands for Payment in Lieu of Taxes, and it is primarily utilized on federal lands, variety of types of federal lands. We get PILT for Hopewell National Park and for, believe it or not, the Appalachian Trail in the north is part of the national park system. I think the number's around $30,000. Don't hold me to it. I reached out on late Monday to the PILT expert at the National Association of Counties and said, is there any chance that the county, the municipality, and the school district get PILT dollars on this? He sent me the actual code, and the answer is nada, nothing. PILT deals almost exclusively with federal public lands, and this type of building are excluded. That is a major hit, and it is not what the people believed they were getting. I have a huge problem with that. Now, just throw one other thing, and I've shared this again with a number of people. When you get outside of the city of Reading, a lot of us don't realize how much of the city of Reading is non-taxable. And it's one of the reasons the city of Reading has the highest municipal property tax in the county. It's because 30 to 40% of their properties are not taxable. Federal government property here, state government property, county, we don't pay taxes, school district, nonprofits, and that is a challenge. I'm not saying that makes that okay, but it does help, I think, community and some school districts outside of Reading appreciate the challenges urban areas have. Here's where we are right now. We know very little. We've had no communication back from Homeland Security, either direct or indirect being through our representatives. Because this is a federal entity, your congressmen and congresswomen for Berks, Congresswoman Dean, Congresswoman Houlihan, Congressman Muser. This is in Muser's district, but it doesn't matter. You should be reaching out to all three of them. Your U.S. senators, Fetterman and McCormick, you should be reaching out to them. And I would close with this. No matter what you think about ICE, and again, my thoughts about ICE locally, that's my experience. I'm not denying or discounting anything else. You should be very concerned about the process and how this is fundamentally changing what the plan was and what was approved literally overnight. And ask the question, what kind of an impact does that have? And what kind of a precedent does that set for this community? I'm gravely concerned about this. I did ask Christine, our solicitor, to just briefly share around the issue that we need to reach out and get some answers. We believe, but I'm even careful here. I'm not going to sit here and say we have no power to stop this because I don't know that for certain. Legal will be looking at that. Christine?
Obviously, this is a recent development this week. I did reach out to contacts that I have attempting to get information. I've received minimal information, but I'm continuing to kind of engage the people that I know who have contacts through the federal government system, really as a first step to get confirmation of what exactly the intended use of the facility is, because that's the first step in the process, is understanding exactly what it's going to be used for. I know, a lot of people have made assumptions about what it is, but until we get actual confirmation, I think from the county standpoint, we need to be very careful in terms of assumptions we made. And my office will be looking at interaction with the township and obviously a lot of the issues that we talked about here today, zoning and some of the other issues. I've not had the ability to reach out to the township supervisor yet, but I intend to do that hopefully this afternoon because of other commitments I had earlier in the week. So we will do appropriate research to try to brainstorm with my staff. I had some staff members out yesterday that need to be engaged in that conversation, and we will explore opportunities that the county has to pursue any action at the direction of the board. So it's being worked on.
Thank you very much. Commissioner St. Tony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wrote down a bunch of notes here, and again, I'm going to apologize in advance if I repeat some of the things that have already been said, but I do have some comments with regards to the facility. I first of all want to thank all of you for attending. It's important for us to hear how you feel. And I know that coming in here and speaking on this issue is not easy, but we appreciate it and we need to hear from our constituents. I'm as distressed about this as you are. I agree with a lot of the comments that have been made. I'm distressed that it's true that we as county commissioners don't have a lot of say in what this federal facility is what's going to happen at the facility in Upper Burn. But as a leader in the community, I think it's important for me to tell you how I feel and maybe what I can try to do to work through this issue that we've been confronted with without a lot of information. I don't want this to be an issue of whether we support or don't support law enforcement. We all support our law enforcement community. I've been a staunch supporter throughout my days in the legislature and will continue to support them. This is not that. Nobody here, I'm sure, is in support of having hardened criminals running around in the streets of our country. We want to make sure that our communities and our citizens are protected. This is not about that. This facility, I mean, one of the issues, and again, it's been mentioned by my colleagues, is the transparency that we just haven't heard anything about what the heck is going on with this facility, and it's frustrating. I think we see what's happening around the country, though, and we could potentially see what's going to happen on the streets of our community. I appreciate the comments of the young lady who got very emotional because her family is concerned about living their day-to-day life. And that's what's happening on the streets of our country. People of color, now people that look like me, I'm okay. But people of color are concerned about going to work and going to school, about being harassed. Young kids, young children being taken from their families. It's not right. We need to take a stand. We need to publicly say how we feel. And I think I read in the paper today that 700 ICE agents are leaving Minneapolis, and that's a direct result of the people of that community that have fought against what's happening up there. You heard about the financial aspect of it. $87 million they paid for that facility. They're cutting healthcare, they're cutting housing, they're cutting all these programs at the federal level, and they're buying facilities like this for $87 million in a community like Berks. It's outrageous. Governor's office has reached out to me. I have a call with them coming up next week to see what they can do. I don't know what they have a response team that hopefully they can provide some resources. Again, I don't know. I haven't spoken with them, but we're setting that up. So I'm going to do everything I can with that. We need to continue to, as was said, speak to our elected officials at the state and federal level. There was bipartisan immigration policy that was going to be passed a few years ago, sponsored by a Republican U.S. Senator, Senator Langford, and a Democratic congressman from Connecticut, Senator Murphy, that had money for border security, that had money to give people the pathway to citizenship, which is what we should be doing. And it was stopped by the current president. And that's where our voices come in. We have to continue to scream and to yell and to be pissed off and to let our elected officials know at the federal level that we're not going to stand for this. We need to correct this problem in a bipartisan way. We need to fight for the rights of all people. My grandparents came over here. We're all, unless we're Native American born, we all came over as grandsons, granddaughters, children of immigrants. And most of the people, are there some criminals that are coming over? Of course there are. Nothing's 100%. But most of the people, just like our ancestors, came over, are coming over to have a better life for themselves and their families. So you heard all the statistics, you heard all the information about what we can and we can't do, and that's all true. And it's all very true. But it's distressing to me that this facility has chosen Berks County. And I'm going to do everything I can to see what we can do to slow things down and possibly to stop it. Again, I don't have the authority as a commissioner, but as a voice just like yours, we can band together and make a difference. The last thing I'm going to say is a personal thing. My daughters who live out of the area, they called me and they texted me. They said, "Dad, what are you doing? You're letting this facility come into Berks County. stop it. And that hit home. That hit me very personally. And I told him, I wish I had the power. If I was king, I would stop it, but I'm not. So we'll do what we can. The laws, we have to live by the laws of our state and our federal government. We'll do that, but we can all band together and do what's right for our community. So I appreciate, again, your input. Appreciate you coming out, and I look forward to working with you. And as we hear things along the way, we'll certainly keep you in the loop. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Santoni. Let me, you have something?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I want to add about America 250 event.
Okay, yeah. So I mentioned my comments prior, but I just want to take the opportunity to thank everyone for coming today and sharing your thoughts, but not only sharing your thoughts, but doing so respectfully. And that's the way we should be able to do that. We should be able to come up and share our thoughts and do it respectfully, but let our elected officials know how you feel. So thank you for being here today, and thank you for bringing it in a way that is respectful to everyone that is here. So I really, really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, and I want to add my thanks as well. We can, and I tell other politicians this more than I tell the general public. I believe we can be courageous and humble at the same time. I believe we can be passionate and kind at the same time. And you demonstrated that. Even the young lady who's apparently a neighbor somewhere near me in Tilden Township, she was passionate. No one could deny that. But I didn't take anything out of that attacking, disrespectful. She told her story. And that I can't emphasize enough, even with elected officials. That's what we need to see. Never be afraid of the passion. Never be afraid of being courageous. Believe it or not, people think it's easy to stand up. And I know it's tougher for you. We do it more often. But there are many times, in fact, today's one of them, I spend time praying, help me to know what to say, and help me to be courageous and kind. Help me to be passionate and humble. We have to work at that. If we let our human nature go, I don't know about you, but my human nature wants to lash out. And we don't get anything accomplished when we do that. I want to close with an announcement. Friday at noon, downstairs in the lobby where probably most of you came through, you might have noticed there is a bell in that lobby. That is the Berks County Liberty Bell. That bell hung in the Berks County Courthouse and was rung on July 8th, 1776, calling people together in downtown Reading and Berks County for the first reading of the Declaration of Independence. In conjunction with America 250 PA and our local committee, America 250 PA Berks County, we are kicking off 2026 on Friday at noon with a program, small program. You're invited. Veronica, is there a link anywhere? The link's closed. If you want to be there, we're glad to have you to celebrate the purpose of the Declaration of Independence. I'll talk a little bit about it there, but the Declaration didn't create a government. Some people think, it failed. They had slavery right out of the gate. The Declaration was about two things. One, the standard of what government ought to do. The life, liberty, God-given rights of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And then it says, for this cause, governments are instituted among men to protect those core rights. And I believe every level of government has a responsibility. When we're sworn in, we take an oath on the Pennsylvania and the U.S. Constitution. We're going to celebrate that and kick it off. It was supposed to be on January 17th. We got snowed out on January 17th. Hopefully we don't get snowed out on Friday. So Friday noon, if you want to be there, we'd love to have you. Anyone listening, again, we would love to have you. Thank you very much.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Meeting is adjourned.